ततो जनमुदीर्ये नष्टप्राये अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16. Krishna chastises the serpent Kāliya. Text 31. Krishnasya garbha jagato ti bharvasaman parsani prahara परिरुग्न फनातपत्रम द्रस्तवाहिम आद्यम उपसेधुर अमुष्य पत्न्या आर्हता श्लताद वसन भूषण केश बंधा कृष्णस्य गर्भा जगतोति भारवसनम कृष्णस्य गर्भा जगतोति भार्गवसनं पार्षणी प्रहार परिरुग्न प्रणनातपत्रं पार्षणी प्रहार परिरुग्न फनातपत्रं द्रस्वाहिम आद्यम उपदेस्तुरमुष्य पत्यां द्रस्वाहिम आद्यम उपसेदुरमुष्य पत्यां आर्ताः श्लताद् वसना भूषण केशा बन्धः आर्ताः श्लताद् भूषण केशा बन्धः कृष्णस्य गर्भजगतोति भारवसनं कृष्णस्य गर्भजगतोति भारवसनं पार्षणी परहार परिघ्नन प्रणातपत्रं पार्षणी प्रहार परिघ्न परासनं दृष्ट्वाहिम आद्यम उपासेदुरमुष्य पत्न्यां आर्हता श्लताद् वसना भूषण केशा बन्धः अर्चना श्लताद् वसना भूषण केशबन्धः कृष्णस्य गर्भा जगतोति भार्गवसनं कृष्णस्य जगतोति भार्गवसनं पार्षणी प्रहार परिघ्न प्रणातपत्रं पार्षणी प्रहार परिघ्न प्रणातपत्रं द्रस्वाहिम आद्यम उपसेदुरमुष्य पत्या आर्हता श्लताद् वसना भूषण केशबन्धः
कृष्णस्य गर्भो जगतोति भरावसनं
कृष्णस्य गर्भजगतोति भरावसनं
पार्षणी प्रहार परिरुग्न फनातपत्रं दृष्ट्वाहिम आद्यम उपसेदुरमुष्य पत्न्यां आर्ताश्लताद्वसनभूषण केशबन्धाः
आर्ताश्लताद्वसनभूषण केशबन्धाः
कृष्णस्य गर्भजगतोति भारवसनं
कृष्णस्य गर्भा जगतोति भारवसनं
पार्षणी प्रहार परिरुग्न फनातपत्रं
पार्षणी प्रहार परिघ्न प्रणातरं दृष्ट्वाहिमाद्यमुदेशुरमुष्य पात्यम् पात्राः श्लताद् वसना भूषण केशबन्धः
कृष्णाय गर्भ जगतोति
कृष्णस्य गर्भा जगतोति परवासनम्
प्रसानी प्रहार पारिरुग्ना फनन्त्वा पत्रम्
पासने प्रहार परिघ्ना फनातपत्रम्
दृष्ट्वहिम् अद्याम् उपसे दूर अमुष्या पत्नायु
आज्ञाश्लतदर्शनं भूषणाय अमुष्य पत्न्या
अरक्ताः श्लत्तारा वसाना भूषणा केशा बन्देह
आर्थाश्लताद्वसना भूषणकेशबन्धः कृष्णस्य गर्भो जगतोति भरवासनम् पार्ष्णे प्रहार परिघ्ना फनातपत्रम् दृष्ट्वा इदम् आद्यम् उदेश्योरमस्य पत्न्याम् आर्थाश्लताद्वसना भूषणकेशबन्धः कृष्णस्य गर्भजगतोत्री भर्वासनम् पार्ष्णे प्रहार परिघ्ना फनातपत्रम् दृष्ट्वा हिमाद्यम् उदीप्योरमुष्य पत्न्या आर्थाश्लताद्वसना भूषणकेशबन्धः कृष्णस्य of Lord Krishna, Garbha, in whose abdomen Jagata is found the entire universe. Atibhara, by the extreme weight. Avasanam, fatigued. Parsani, of his heels. Prahara, by the striking. Parigna, shattered. Fana, his hoods. Atapatram, which were like umbrellas. Drastva, seeing. Aham, the serpent. Adyam, the primeval Lord. Upasedhu, approached. Amusya, of Kāliya. Patniya, the wives. Artah, feeling distressed. Slatar, disarrayed. Vasana, their clothings. Bhushana, ornaments. Keshabandha, and the locks of their hairs. When Kāliya's wives saw him, the serpent had become so fatigued from the excessive weight of Lord Sri Krishna, who carries the entire universe in his abdomen, and how Kāliya's umbrella-like hoods had been shattered by the striking of Krishna's heels. They felt great distress with their clothing, ornaments, and hair scattered in disarray
In this way,
They then approached
they then approached
the eternal personality
the eternal personality
of the Godhead.
of the Godhead.
Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Kāliya's wives had been disgusted with their husband because of his demonic activities. They had been thinking, if this atheist is killed by the punishment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then let him be killed. We will become widows and engage in the worship of Supreme Lord. But then the ladies noticed Kāliya's facial expression and other bodily features, and they understood that Kāliya had indeed taken shelter of the Lord within his mind. Seeing that he was manifesting symptoms of humility, remorse, regret, and doubt, they thought, just seeing how fortunate we are, our husband has now become a Vaishnava. Therefore, we must now endeavor to protect him. They felt affection for their repentant husband and severed distress because of his miserable position. And thus, altogether, they went into the presence of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. In the purport, Kāliya's hoods are being compared with the umbrella that's been called here as Atapatram. Atapatram, like the umbrella, the hoods. Similarly, in the second canto, Lord's lotus feet is also compared with the umbrella. How it is being compared is when Vidura, not participating in Kurukshetra war, went on pilgrimage, and at the end of the war, when he was on pilgrimage, happened to meet Uddhava. When Vidura expressed his desire to understand the supreme knowledge from Uddhava, which Uddhava received from Sri Krishna, Uddhava directed Vidura to Maitreya Mahamuni. In fact, Lord Sri Krishna shared the absolute truth with Uddhava in the presence of Maitreya Mahamuni only. When Uddhava directed Vidura to approach Maitreya Muni, and he himself, when he left for Badrinath to have darshan and association of Nar Narayana, Vidura went to Maitreya Muni and in a humble position approached to have the desire to understand absolute truth. Maitreya Muni, when he is explaining about the absolute truth, via demigods, he explains that how the demigods praise Lord Sri Krishna's lotus feet. The demigod says, "O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet." Atapatram. Atapatram, the umbrella. Here, it is said that Prapanna, the surrendered, for the surrendered devotees, the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna is like an umbrella. As in Hindi they say, Chhatra Chhaya, the shadow of the umbrella of lotus feet. But one interesting thing to be noted here is the hoods of the Kāliya is compared with umbrella, Atapatram, and the lotus feet of Sri Krishna by the demigods is also said the umbrellas. But the beautiful thing here is the weight of the umbrellas, the bhara, the weight of the umbrella, like lotus feet, is so strong that the umbrella, like hoods, could not bear it. Could not bear it. First, the poisonous profusely came out when he was tired, when he was distressed, when he was fatigued. Now the blood also he started vomiting. So the Atapatram of lotus feet is so strong, is so powerful that no Atapatram can be in front of it. It is also said that मारने वाले से बचाने वाला बड़ा है. In Hindi it's a common dialogue saying that मारने वाले से बचाने वाला बड़ा है. The one who kills is shorter, is less powerful than the person, than the identity who saves. Here the Atapatram is also same. The Atapatram of Kāliya is a killing identity or element, which is less or which is very, very less powerful than the lotus feet Atapatram of Sri Krishna, which saves, which is the shelter of anyone who comes in distress. Kāliya's pastimes and all the pastimes which Sri Krishna performed for the devotees is a part of Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam class at 7:30 a.m. every day is a part of Krishna conscious movement. Now, Srila Prabhupada says the Krishna conscious movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. Directly or indirectly, the Bhagavatam, in which we are reading Kāliya's pastime and all other pastimes which we have gone through, is a part of Krishna conscious movement, and we do it at 7:30 almost. And Srila Prabhupada says that the Krishna conscious movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, the spiritual genius of medieval India, he is considered as the spiritual genius of medieval India. Indian history, when divided into three parts: ancient history, ancient India, medieval India, and modern India, Srila Rupa Goswami is considered the spiritual genius of medieval India. Goswami, Go, the senses, and Swami, the master. So Goswami is the master of the senses. There are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana who were under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Rupa Goswami, he is considered the master of the senses, and Prabhupada emphasized that Krishna conscious movement is under the direction, under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. Narottama Dasa says, Rupa Raghunath Padehi Eb Akuti, Kebe Hama Bhujba Ye Yugal Priti. Kebe Hama Bhujba Ye Yugal Priti. How can I understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna without understanding the literature of these Goswamis? Very important for us. If we want to understand and participate fully into Krishna conscious movement, and also to understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Yugala Priti, pastimes of Krishna, we must understand, are inclined to have an eagerness for understanding the literature given by Goswamis. Goswami. When we put our tilak in front of the mirror, we can ask a question, are we a Goswami? The answer could be no, still fine. But the second question, are you trying to be a Goswami? The answer must and should be yes. We should try to control our senses. We should try to master our senses. When Rupa Goswami is supervising the moment, Rupa Goswami gives some instructions. These instructions are called nectar of instructions. That means the instructions and it is the nectar. In that, Rupa Goswami says there are 6 elements, if controlled or tolerated, can make the followers all over the world. Although this is directed towards a guru, but could be taken for any Vaishnavas. Those 6 elements are, he says, Vacho Vegam, Manasaha Krodha Vegam. In the first sentences, he talks about 3. Vacho Vegam, Manasaha Krodha Vegam. In the second sentence, he says, Jiva Vegam, Udhara Pasto Vegam. Vacho Vegam. Vacho, the speech. Manasa, the desires. Krodha, anger. Jiva, tongue. Udhara Pasto, belly and genitals. 6 items. The tolerance to speak, the controlling of the mind's desires, the actions, directed actions when a person is angry, the desires of the tongue to be controlled, and belly and genitals has to be regulated. Srila Vinoda Thakur, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, in his commentary on the same elements, put them in 3 categories. He puts them speech, mind and body. Speech, mind and body. Also it is said that Tridanda Swami, whoever is Tridanda Swami, they engage these 3 things at the service of the Lord. These 3 things, that's why they call Tridanda. 3 things they engage in the service. 1, the speech. 2, the mind. And the 3rd, the body. Speaking, when we are speaking, mostly and always it should be regarding Krishna, for the Lord speaking. When we are desiring for the service of the Lord, how we can do for His pleasure. Krodha, when we are angry, the best example Prabhupada gives for this particular element is Bajrangbali, Hanuman. He says that the anger of Hanuman was directed towards the service of Sri Ramachandra by burning the Lanka. So Prabhupada gives an example that even the anger can be directed towards the service of Lord. Tongue. Tongue is very important, and our Acharya says that we should taste the prasadam. Tongue can be controlled by tasting the prasadam. Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, he says, Jiva Phele Vishesagre. When we sing these verses before taking prasadam, the sentence comes as Jive Phele Vishesagre. All the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. If tongue can be controlled, then most of the things can come in line. Or the first step of controlling the senses starts with the tongue. Tongue, belly and genitals, all in the straight line. In a sense, in material world, we can say that we have different, when we study body, there are different systems. You have circulatory system, urinary system, respiratory system, reproduction system. Here in the parlance we see it's digestive system and a reproductive system. These two systems to be controlled, or at least the organs can be directed. When these senses are not controlled, in the parlance of Prahlad Maharaj, he says them as Adanta Gobhi, uncontrolled by the senses. He says that from the instructions of others, Parataha, Swataha, from their own understanding, and Mitaha, from combined efforts also, when these senses are not controlled, then it is Adanta Gobhi. And he says, Punaha Punas Charvita Charvanana. Chewing the same thing which is already chewed. Although it is told by Paraha, by the others, Swataha, by reading the books, by analyzing by ourselves, and Mitaha, by combining both also. When a person cannot control, it is like Punaha Punas Charvita Charvanana. In this parlance, His Grace Atma Tattva Das Prabhu also says, His glorious Atma Tattva Das Prabhu, he says that for a neophyte in the initial stage of bhakti movement, steps are very important. The life process is very important. His Grace Atma Tattva Das Prabhu says that as the first step of algebraic equation, any mathematics, the first step is as important as the last step. Because if in the first step itself, if it is mistaken, if it is grabbed in a wrong sense, then all the process when you are solving the mathematical equation, it goes wrong. There is no chance that you will get the right answer. So Prabhu says that in the first days, in the initial days of bhakti process, when a person is practicing bhakti yoga, it has to be observed, it has to be cautiously taken up. Because it is so slippery and it is so destructive that you can do some mistakes. Parikshit Maharaj, when the thing of mistakes comes, Parikshit Maharaj asks Sukadeva Goswami. He says that, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? Why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? Prabhupada, in his purport, puts these people who are able to control their senses and who could not able to control their senses in 4 categories. He says that there are some, the first category, where they hear and they restrain from doing that. Suppose, by stealing is a bad habit, stealing is prohibitable, or stealing is punishable. Then intelligent people understand it, the first category, and they forbid doing it. They don't do it. Prabhupada calls them as intelligent. The second category of people, Prabhupada says, those who see it and restrain themselves, forbid themselves. Means stealing, after stealing, getting a punishment when they saw it, they restrain themselves and they will not do it. The third category, after hearing, after seeing, also the person does the mistake. After doing the mistake, he goes through the punishment. After doing punishment, he understands and he restrains himself. He restrained himself. He will not do it. Prabhupada says, still fine. Third category, still fine. But for fourth category, Prabhupada uses his favorite word, rascal. fourth category, he uses R. Now these R are those people who hear it, who see it, who goes through it, and after that also they continue doing it. Punaha punas charvita charvanana. Kāliya comes under third category. Kāliya comes under third category. Since now Nagapatnis, his wives, are under distress and going for the lotus feet of the Lord, Kāliya comes under third category. First, he heard many times from his Vaishnava devotees, Nagapatnis, but he could not. He saw Lord Sri Krishna when Sri Krishna jumped into the lake by tying his hair, by clapping his arms, by tightening his waist, and agitated the water like a mad elephant, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says. Kāliya came out and wanted to harm Krishna. But when he saw Krishna, a kid of just 6 years, very soft, very tender, but still there was no mercy in his heart. And in the third instance, when he has gone through it, when the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, when the tender lotus feet of Sri Krishna, when it is bashing him on his hoods, one after another, whichever hood he wanted to bring up, that hood was being smashed. In that way, in the whole punishment, when he got to know, he remembered what his patnis were saying, his Nagapatnis were saying. He realized and started surrendering himself. That's why he comes under third category. Just for the pastime, just for the pleasure of observing the pastimes, we can take Lankeshwara Ravana as the fourth category. Lankeshwara Ravana was also instructed, was also advised, was also prayed by wife Mandodari, but he did not. In fact, on the day when the war was there and when he was almost defeated, when he was almost unconscious in the war, and when Sri Ramachandra said, "Go back, take rest, come tomorrow," it could have been the third category, but no. Even Meghdut advised him before his last battle, where Meghdut lost his life. Ravana did not take it. Kumbhakarna advised from Shastri point of view, but Lankeshwara Ravana did not take it. Just for the purpose of understanding the fourth category, we can take the example of Ravana. When the Nagapatnis saw the condition of their husband, who in the mind itself surrendering to Lord, they came in a position that hair was scattered, the jewels were here and there, the clothings were not proper, and they were approaching Lord. For the husband, wife is doing this. For Patni, for Pati, Patni is doing this. Same thing, we see that. Ramchandra waited till the rainy season comes down, because that was what Sugriva told, that once the rainy season completes, then we can start our assignment of searching Janki Devi. When the rainy season completed and still there is no sign of Sugriva's intention of helping Sri Ramachandra, Sri Ramachandra said, "Lakshmana." And Lakshmana went to Sugriva's palace. The moment Adishesha, Lakshmana, was approaching Sugriva, Patni came out in the same distress as the Nag Patnis have come. Hair scattered, jewels here and there, clothings in its own condition, and approached her. That is surrendering. When a person is in a surrendering mood, that would be the condition. That's why Krishna is also called Prapanna Palaya. Prapanna Palaya. Prapanna. Surrendered. When these four categories is being analyzed, still there can be a doubt that how to conquer the senses. How the senses activate to distract one from the main purpose. Acharya uses a word called avirodha priti, unrestricted attachment. If some unrestricted attachment is there, and when it is not fulfilled, as agitations or flickering of mind happens, then it leads to virodha yukta krodha, anger arising from frustration. In the example of Kāliya, we can see Kāliya was so much attached, unrestricted attachment was through his activities to his palace, which he made by mystic power, Jalastamba, the lake. He forgot that it is just temporary, it all belongs to the Lord. He was so attached to it that when the water was agitated, he was in the condition of virodha yukta krodha. He has to come in the angry mode. So Acharyas advises that senses have to be controlled. And for that, the first step is avarodha priti. There should not be unrestricted attachment to anything. When the process of senses controlling happens, there can be some falling and again getting it up. In this condition, Prabhupada says that most of the senses here and there okay, but genitals, the sex life, is so stubborn that it is very difficult to control, and unless and until surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Yamunacharya says, since my heart has been overwhelmed by the devotional service of Lord Krishna, I cannot even think of sex life. And if thoughts of sex life comes upon me, I am at once feel disgust. Yamunacharya says that he is so overwhelmed by Krishna Bhakti that sex life doesn't come into his thoughts. And when it comes to his thoughts, he gets disgust. The word disgust is very important here. And from here, the deviation happens from a modern motivational speaker to the spiritual laboratory owners. Spiritual laboratory, a beautiful word which His Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaj uses. Spiritual laboratory. Now, the word disgust, what Srila Yamunacharya has used, that when a person falls back, when the thought itself comes, he gets disgusted. Whereas the motivational speaker, the modern motivational speaker says that it's okay, don't get disgusted. But Yamunacharya says, get disgusted. Even His Grace Amog Leela Prabhu says, we should get disgust. We should get paschatap. Prabhupada says, real paschatap or atonement is the awakening of dormant Krishna consciousness. The real atonement, the real paschatap is the awakening of dormant Krishna consciousness. So when a person is feeling disgusted because the thought itself has come, or he could not able to control the senses, it's not okay, as the motivational speaker says. in the lines of spiritual experiment, spiritual laboratory, it has to be taken strongly. Here we can take it like from wherever we get the inspirational elements to control our senses, we can grab it. The value of gold doesn't loses if it is in dustbin. It will be. In that parlance, we can analyze some corporate methodology where the target was reached. For a bhakti practitioner, bhakti yoga practitioner, if the first instruction is to control the senses, if the target is to control the senses, because Acharya says that, and Srila Prabhupada says that the movement is under the supervision of Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami says that control the senses in 3 categories. If that is the target of a bhakti yoga practitioner, we will see how the corporate world also achieves its target. Colgate, the company Colgate, say about in late 50s or early 60s, 1960s, it came to India. Indian subcontinent, big market, analyzed, and it came to India. Colgate toothpaste. At that time, or before venturing of Colgate into India, Indian subcontinent, residents of Indian subcontinent were using neem twigs, the twigs of neem, or the ashes from the stove, the brick stove what ladies used to use, ash. Neem was bitter, neem twig was bitter, they were used to it. The ashes were dusty, rusty or sandy, still used to it. But when this toothpaste came, it was sweet, it was semi-solid, it was not used to it. These people were not used to it. They fully rejected it. They fully rejected. What is this? Sweet paste, ye kya hai, meetha hai. They take it out. Colgate did not lose its heart. Colgate researched it. They found that these people are used to this and this. They never left the target, as we are not going to leave our target of sense control. They made tooth powder. Tooth powder was never there before in Colgate. They made a tooth powder which is husky, dusty and powdery, what Indian subcontinent was using as ash. It's a corporate strategy. We can see another corporate strategy. Kellogg's. Kellogg's came to Indian subcontinent. Indians have a habit, milk means garam doodh, hot milk. Milk means garam. Later, now in early 2000 it came. Doodh mein dalo ice, doodh ban gaya nice. Otherwise, doodh was never nice when it was cold. Doodh was always hot. So this hot milk, when Kellogg's came to India, people started buying and putting in the hot milk. And by the time they eat it, it was like a halwa. Ye kya hai? There was no crunchy at all. It was fully rejected. Kellogg's was a big flop. Then again analyzing happened, as we should analyze when we are controlling our senses. There is no hard and fast rule except the methodology what acharyas have given. Research happened and they found that in Western world, where Kellogg's is famous, are used as a breakfast, as a staple food, there the milk comes from the fridge, direct from the fridge to the bowl, and in the cold milk your Kellogg's goes. And Kellogg's is crunchy and edible and palatable. Whereas Indians, they don't take milk directly from the fridge and consume, they heat it. Then they found it that because of this texture, the thing has happened. The Kellogg's then modified their recipes, making it a thicker version and temperature resistant, so that at least to some extent let it be crunchy. There are two examples from the corporate world. From Vatsalya Bhav, motherly love, when we see also, when the child spits out the food what mother gives, mother never distresses. What she will do? She will put a bit of ghee into it and she will feed. If the child again spits, she will put a bit of honey into it and again she will feed. But she will never get distressed. Same way, when senses are not getting into control, one should not get distressed. Take a methodology which is suitable, which could be association of devotees, which could be having prasadam, which would be kirtan or anything. People can say that, मैं गा नहीं सकता. Then खा तो सकते हो. That means when you can't sing, at least you can take the prasadam. When we say association of devotees, we can think about the migratory birds. The migration of birds from one continent to another continent is immeasurable, is unthinkable. If we think in that parlance, from one continent to another continent, if we are taking an aeroplane, we need hours. Or if it is a break, then it can take a day also. But these migratory birds, they migrate from one continent to another. The reason behind that is the association. When they make a group, they form a pattern. They form a pattern and they fly. When they make this particular pattern, they get a upthrust. They get a upthrust to fly and to cross the continent. But if a single bird tries to cover across a continent, it's impossible. In the same way, when we are in the association of devotees, when we are in the association of Prabhupada's literature and Acharya's literature, it is very easy to cross this continent. I will read the translation one time and then we will open the forum for question, answers and comments. When Kāliya's wives saw how the serpent had become so fatigued from the excessive weight of Lord Krishna, who carries the entire universe in his abdomen, and how Kāliya's umbrella-like hoods had been shattered by the striking of Krishna's heels, they felt great distress, with their clothing, ornaments, and hair scattered in disarray. They then approached the eternal personality of Godhead. Questions, comments? Hari. आज merci beaucoup. Ripol Prabhu? Couldn't get Prabhu.
I thought you said speaking correctly. Did you not say merci beaucoup?
Mercy Baku, oh, thank you, Prabhu, thank you. It's all Guru Maharaj's mercy and Prabhu's advices. He is my Siksha Guru. I'm just following the instructions of Adi Purush Prabhu.
Can we go straight, please?
You haven't finished.
Oh, you're not finished?
Question,
Oh, I didn't understand.
Prabhu, when you say like Ravana was in fourth category,
Sort of.
Ravana was in
Fourth
fourth category
category,
and he didn't give up. Like, was the reason because he was in fourth category, that's why he didn't give up, or he understood that like there is no point in living now after losing all the relatives, everyone, and plus he had this awareness that he has to die from God's hand, then only he can be liberated.
Yes, Prabhu, as we are analyzing, but the basic thing here is it's the pastimes of Sri Ram. So that has to happen in that way. That was the pastime. Why we have considered in the fourth category, just to understand those categories. But it's the pastime of Sri Ramachandra. Yes, Prabhu.
I'll go to those categories afterwards. But first off, this story says what it says. But from my own research, is there another part of the writings where I can find a female mythical being with many husbands that have to deal with her in so much as this is, I presume, a male snake. The serpent is male.
Male
Wives
snakes
are female,
and
wives are female.
wives.
There are many wives.
Yes.
Several wives.
Yes.
And just the one snake.
Yes.
With the hood. Even though I'm fairly sure the only hooded snakes are female, but the males of the species don't hood up. They're bigger, they're rarer. They mainly copulate by rape. But they don't hood up. That's a female thing. So it's really weird that Kāliya has the shadows, not quite as good as Krishna's feet. But Kāliya comes up. What is the meaning of that? That in fact it's a male snake with female features and surrounded by, just like we as devotees might approach Krishna, but like birds flying together over the mountains, he is surrounded by wives. Does that not make the male serpent Kāliya part of a largely female association? What is all this mixed up gender stuff that you've got going on in this story?
Prabhu, here if we see the gender way as you are saying, more than the gender, we as devotees of Lord Sri Krishna are pleasing, are getting pleasure in understanding his pastimes. For example, the lake. Well, the question it comes, as you have asked the question, like Kāliya, and he got the liberation by the advice of the Patnis. Then people also ask,
Patnis, the wives?
because of the wives, because wives were advising that surrender. People also ask, Kāliya's marriage was a love marriage or arranged marriage? So we are not interested in that dimension. Yeah. They say, is it because they see that love marriages are successful or arranged marriages are successful, and they ask, Kāliya's marriage was a love marriage or arranged marriage? We are not into. Yes, yeah. So we are not going in that direction. Same thing for lake also people ask. If the lake was adjacent to Yamuna, then why Yamuna did not get poisoned? It's a different thing, because lake is adjacent to Yamuna, and as per geography, if we see, lakes are an identity, are a separate identity. They are bounded by they are bounded by the land from all sides, and they are made either by glaciers or tectonic or by rivers itself. And lakes are sometimes so big that they are called seas. For example, the Caspian Sea or the Dead Sea are not seas. Actually, they are lakes, okay, but made at the coastal region. So in that way, so the main purpose of ours is to relish the pastimes of Krishna. Prabhu.
Nice class. Just a comment, you were talking about the surrender. There is another example, like Vidura's wife, and Krishna goes at Vidura's